here to send a message to the American embassy,
against humanitarian reasons, because I'm against war. Any war is bad.
As a nation, as British, and as a supporter
one life
of
lost
Bahrain,
is one too many.
how disgusted we are about this silence.
As a human being, we should support other human beings that are out there.
Today is the 100th day. Our human rights advocate, Abdul Hadi Khawaja, is still on hunger.
Today we are here basically just to show solidarity with Stop the War Coalition. Anonymous in general have supported the Stop the War Coalition many a time. We've been to like the last 5 or 6 events because we feel that stopping the war is something that's very close to all of our hearts. Obviously, Anonymous, pretty much we do our own events, but we also support a lot of the other events. And what's going on in the world at the moment, still what's going on in places like Iraq and Afghanistan and the new ones, Somalia, like you mentioned, Syria, Bahrain. There is more reason now to become a part of the anti-war movement than there ever has been. And
it brings all of us here today. A world which is based on war, a world which is based on people thinking that they, you know, that war will ever solve problems. War creates problems. The world of, I'm not religious, but all the world religions know and say the same thing. You only end hate by love, and you can't do it with war.
Well, it's dreadful that so many young lads are cajoled and persuaded into going and giving their lives for a cause which is completely negative and without end.
This is a nebulous,
it emanates from the warmonger Blair
misunderstood
and Brown.
Term that would include
go out there,
a civilian
lads, yes, you might get your eye
so just
out. You
this
might
week,
use your leg,
we
you might
know
use
that they
your
are
arm,
ramping it up.
but you're doing a good job. Well, they're not doing a good job at all. It's completely negative.
You have to organise.
How would we feel if in 1945 the Krauts had come out on top and they were still here? We would be potting them off. There would be guerrilla groups. We would probably have driven them out by now, but we would be doing exactly the same that the Taliban's doing to the Americans and the English and the French and whoever else has invaded their country militarily and trying to tell them how to live. It's absolutely deplorable that the government will continue with this negative policy. Holland is going to pull the French troops out by the end of the year, and Cameron should find the guts to follow suit. It's completely negative and amoral and will lead nowhere.
I mean, I agree with almost everything that's said here, and actually I thought the poetry was very moving, and I hope I can get hold of it afterwards.
I noticed your badge. Do you remember Stop the War?
Yeah.
How long have you been a member?
Since it started.
What made you want to join in the beginning? What made you want to join in the beginning?
Well, I said to you,
what you said.
War is mad. I mean, just one thing I'll say, which is not the deep cause of the depression, but no one ever mentions military expenditure and a deficit in the same breath. They don't see the relation. I mean, the problem is a group of mad economists who have taken over this economic science and will not do what Keynes said. We went through this in the 30s as far as this is concerned, and we're just repeating it. Because I know you're not going to take this, I know you're not interested in this, my dear. But it's, you know, it's Keynes knows that the only way out of a depression is by spending, creating things. The maddest thing in the world, if you've got a debt, is to think, well, I'll tie my hands, I won't do anything, I won't work, and my debt will be paid off. It won't. You've got to go and work harder. You've got to do more things, which is a very primitive way of describing what Keynes was doing.
I would say, quite simply, bring all troops home. You know, I personally believe myself, I can't speak for everyone here, but I think that the only reason we've got the problem with terrorism is because we occupied their land.
More than 20 opposition leaders and figures, the only guilt they did is to protest peacefully
the opposite of what
against
they preach.
the
I mean, they preach
dictatorship
democracy
of
and
Bahrain and
human rights
against
and this
the
and that, but
inconstitutional government
it contradicts
in Bahrain.
what they do.
And thus we stand here. My
we're
few
friends
words
with
to the American embassy is to tell them
some royal families which are obviously
Your
not
silence.
democratic and
your
controversial,
silence adorned by deceit,
such as the Bahraini one, which is
laced
here just
with
now.
conceit, is bathed in the
I would
blood
just say, yeah,
of
they
innocent.
should live up to
Why
their
don't you
standards
speak?
and,
Your
obviously
silence has no
end the
dignity.
hypocrisy.
To express my opinion against an external intervention in Syria. As a Syrian, I'm very proud of being Syrian, living in the UK, and over the last 8,000 years, Syria has lived with peace. Over 2,000 years, we had the Christians and the Muslims living side by side with no fear of being segregated, and so the last 14 months has actually caused a lot of internal division in Syria. This division is actually now being also supported by certain powers externally. We have the what I call the Arab NATO. Saudi and Qatar are playing a major role in pushing for a military war, military actions against Syria. We want peace and security for Syria. We don't want military actions. The people of Syria have spoken. There has been new elections. There has been new constitution that has been drafted, and it is for the Syrian people inside Syria to decide the future of Syria. It's not for external powers, not for external interventions. What Syria needs is British and EU and Western expertise. It is not no-fly zones or military zones and war.